They need
Yep.
to push
for it.
this wheel, and so like the wheel is actually round and now start flowing down the hill. Then the private sector will more get on it.
We're getting investment now from Taiwan and other countries coming here to exactly what we need in order for the AI to take off.
Because I'm sure that company is going to be getting some tax breaks, just like some of the EV companies, manufacturing companies that are here in the state of Michigan.
So what type of impact will this have on our infrastructure, the supply chain, jobs?
Welcome to episode 3 of The Next Move. I'm your co-host, Keegan.
Sandeep.
And roll. So, guys, we got various topics. The first one I wanted to start with, I don't remember who picked this one out. So, AI economic opportunities. I'm pretty sure some of you guys seen this already with J.D. Vance.
Okay.
Let's see.
The AI future is not going to be won by hand-wringing about safety. It will be won by building, from reliable power plants to the manufacturing facilities that can produce the chips of the future. Now, at a personal level, what excites me most about AI is that it is grounded in the real and the physical economy. The success of the sector isn't just a matter of smart people sitting in front of a computer screen and coding. It depends on those who work with their hands, even as robotics will change our factories. It will certainly make our healthcare providers better at treating diseases, but it will also depend on the data produced by those healthcare providers, by those doctors and nurses.
Yep.
I believe it will help us create and store new modes of power in the future. But right now, AI cannot take off unless the world builds the energy infrastructure to support it. Now, it's my view that tech innovation over the last 20 years has often conjured images of smart people staring at computer screens, engineering in the world of bits. But the AI economy...
So what do you guys think? I mean, it's definitely a direction we need to go.
Well, lately I've seen there's quite a few contracts that have been up for DoD for AI, specifically AI, any sensor, any hardware they're even talking about. I mean, I'm just talking about how government is going on the path. Like, remember last time we talked about, it's like, government need to get on this first. They need to push this wheel, and so like the wheel is actually round and now start flowing down the hill. Then the private sector will more get on it. Yep. So I think is like I see a lot of posts, there's a specific people in DoD, and the generation I seeing is I'm not too up with what generation, Gen Z or whatever generation. I'm not up with that, so I'm not even gonna touch that. So I was just gonna say is generational they have is a next generation that's actually understands what AI can do, and government is definitely is getting involved, even though with all this storm right now, the people are talking about hey, they're cutting people here, they're cutting people there. But no, in that sector, what I'm seeing is I see a uptick on the basically what government is trying to encourage, I guess.
Yep, and you've seen it too. One of the major OEMs, I won't say which one, just hired a chief AI director. So it's going to be coming in automotive. It's going to be coming in every industry that we see. I think one of the insightful things that J.D. Vance just mentioned there was, just the data collection, and something that we sort of talked about last time is how do they use that data that's collected in the pharmaceutical industry, in the healthcare industry, than in automotive and other sectors.
You brought up a good point, Sandeep. I don't know if you realized it, but obviously you're talking about the government jobs. Some people are, I guess that financing's being reallocated in different areas.
Yeah.
And, the push is for AI, push is for us to have technology here. And it's something we talked about last time, but we barely touched it, was, the DeepSeek versus ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That was the point I was alluding to it here. It was that when we last time we talked about it, we were, saying, and you asked me like, is there something coming up? This is exactly the atmosphere within government, within DoD. They're thinking like, yeah, this AI is real. We need to act on it. We need to have our infrastructure. They're talking about, yes, there's a lot of, it takes a lot of energy for computing energy, and to run those computers, it takes a lot of energy. And where that energy gonna come from?
Yep.
And I even seen it where there's a talk about individual big tech companies having their own nuclear generators.
On their own site.
They're on their sites.
Wow.
To generate power to basically,
To keep these AI.
yeah, because it's
AI.
gonna take a lot of computing.
Man, I'm just fascinated by how much power this thing requires.
Oh yeah, this and the cooling power and just to run those algorithms, it takes, like like if you're in machine learning, or forget machine learning, if you're even running a CAD software.
Yeah, you're right.
To make a complex drawing or complex
Those guys at least had
product,
40
complex
gigs
product.
of RAM on their PC.
You need a computing power on your computer to generate those drawings and those graphics, and and multiply that by 1 million. I would say. I mean, don't quote me on it, but I'm just saying, multiply that by 1 million and to run AI.
Yep.
And if we already have grid and infrastructure issues in the U.S. here, you see rolling blackouts in California.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to have, more issues like that in the future if that side of the government also doesn't prepare for this.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this is where I was talking about it last time as well. That is, it will take government's support to really pursue this.
You know what? You brought up a good point. So here's one that kind of leads into what we're talking about right now. Because government support, look at this. So let's see.
TSMC is the world's largest chip manufacturing, funded by Dr. Morris Chen in 1987. It's now at the forefront of semiconductor technology, supporting AI advancement and industry growth. In fact, I would like to wind back the time that in 2020, we have to thank President Trump's vision and his support. So TSMC start the journey of establishing the advanced chip manufacturing in Arizona. And now, let me proudly say, now the vision become reality. In Phoenix, Arizona, with 3,000 employees, we are producing the most advanced chip made on U.S. soil. With the success of our first fab, so we are now very happy to announce we are going to invest additional $100 billion US dollar, in addition to our current $65 billion US dollars investment in Arizona. We are going to build 3 more new fabs after we promised 3 fabs already, and another 2 very advanced packaging fab, and most important, R&D center also in Arizona.
So
for this,
we're getting
all the
investment
investment, $165
Taiwan
billion, is going to create thousands
exactly
of high-paid
what
jobs
we need
as a
in
president
order for the AI to take off.
announced.
Yeah,
And we are,
and,
most
you know,
important, actually,
I
we are
mean,
going to
it is
produce
where,
many AI chips. We're
you
going
know,
to produce
those are
many
those are
chips
influenced
to
by the
support the
government, right?
AI progress,
those
and to
investments, they're
support
all.
the
I'm sure that
smartphones
company's going to be
progress.
getting some tax breaks, just like some of the EV companies, manufacturing companies that are here in the state of Michigan. I think there was the $5 billion investment by Ford. You know, they're
Yeah,
gonna be
it has to
doing
make
some of those-
financial sense for
Yes,
them to
they're
be able
gonna
to
do
invest in
some-
here.
Yep. And then also
And-
they don't have to deal with the trade stuff that's currently going on right now,
So
right?
it's the environment, right? It's the ecosystem that's created by governments. It could be local, state, or federal. It's the ecosystem. That they are for it or they're against it.
Yeah.
At that point, if they're for it, they will go beyond what they are required to have that company or that technology implemented. If they're against it or even neutral, then they have less of stake, and they are encouraging. There's no encouragement. There's no there's not anything that
incentive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just missing the
So,
incentive.
out of curiosity, you guys, what type of impact will this have on our infrastructure, the supply chain, jobs? What do you guys think?
Obviously, we're going to bring in lots of jobs. They just said they're already employing, 3,000 people. They're going to bring in, 2 or 3 more manufacturing facilities. So there's another, So some of these jobs I think that we are seeing lost right now. I just read a report the month of February had almost an all-time high since COVID. I think 170,000 plus jobs lost in last month. I think you're going to see a lot of people starting to be repurposed and pushed into different industries. Whether that's in manufacturing or any other type of industry that's out there, which could be this AI push.
I don't know. I have this habit of kind of comparing things to a history, like like how they say history repeats itself, right?
Yeah.
So during assembly line, when Ford introduced assembly line, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of people let go because now they're more efficient.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was because it wasn't something against them. It was not they're not skillful or they're, Ford had it in for them or anything. But because they're more efficient, the way their new system was implemented, they had to let certain people go. And those people, they went out and they're like, oh, well, all these people are working. They don't have time in a day. They need food. They open up restaurants. They open up retail.
Or part supplier. Or
Parts,
Yeah, it opens up more opportunities. Actually, that's what I was going to bring up because I'm going to compare. Now, I used to live in Raleigh, North Carolina, and obviously I live, in the Michigan area or Detroit area. And I don't know if you guys notice this when you travel, or at least you're in the Detroit area. Detroit area has a lot of 24/7 diners, bars, that type of deal. If you go to other states that doesn't really have like 3 shifts running, they don't go past like 9 or 10 o'clock typically.
Right.
Yeah, if that.
And this is what your point that you're alluding to is that when they make these investments in these states, you create a chain, you create basically a town.
Yeah. There's a reason, like when we switched from coal industry or we switched from other industries, similar industries that kind of got almost absolute, and after that they were like people. There's a whole towns, they become ghost towns.
Yep.
And the opposite of it, when even in Michigan, like Traverse City, kind of become a little tech hub. It become a mini what we call it Eastern Silicon Valley feeling hub. So and so now wherever Arizona, whatever town, I don't know what their
I think you said Phoenix.
yeah, Phoenix.
Phoenix?
And,
Okay.
I'm not too familiar with the Phoenix, like what they're currently, what the culture is over there, what's the industry is, like industry culture.
Well, there is, I do know around the Phoenix area, there's a couple border towns there in Mexico that are heavy in the manufacturing side.
Right, but it's manufacturing, right?
Yeah.
So this is chip manufacturing.
It's still manufactured, but yeah.
Right, but it's like
Different skill sets.
little more technical side.
Yeah. Different skill sets.
Different skill set,
And,
different pay rate, different
And you're going to have like the clean rooms, and you're going to have different PPE
different
required.
trainings, different
Yeah.
So you have this it's gonna give the whole different name to the I mean, I won't say name, but it's gonna change the name of like the whole blue collar and criteria who we call it blue collar anymore. I think it's that's gonna change with the robotic and with the AI and so on.
And I think too, one of the key things to bring up with AI in general, and like we were talking about before, is I was just reading that I think, what was it, 70, 80 years ago, 50% of the jobs that exist today didn't exist then.
Yeah.
Right. So now what's that going to do in another 50 years, right? I mean, 10 years ago when somebody said, oh, I want to be a social media influencer, I can make money on that, people would roll their eyes. Now there's courses in college for this. There's going to be a lot of changes that happen very rapidly. It's probably even quicker now, where in the tech industry, I mean, even 5-6 years ago, when somebody said, "Hey, I'm going to work from home," I would have said, "No way, no way. How
That
can
was
you
a
work
joke.
from home?" Yeah,
That was a joke.
And now
I work
look
from
at this.
home. Like, what are you?
Maybe
half
we
the
take care of
jobs-
grandpa.
You can get half jobs now almost, or work from home if it's in accounting or sales or
Design.
admin or design. You can find all these different opportunities. So
even managing.
so I think this AI move
HR
is going to, obviously backed by some governments and influenced that way, you're going to see a massive push again for in 50 years, half the jobs that are out there now might not be there.
So I'm going to throw a wrinkle in this. So how do you guys think other countries might respond to how Taiwan obviously moved manufacturing here? How do you think other countries are going to respond to seeing that?
So, without getting political or anything in this,
Why not?
well, I mean, certain terms, certain words, when we use those, and they already, people attach it to like a certain political group, right? Without getting that, there used to be where whole world looked up to America.
Yeah.
Looked up to America, like what America gonna bring next?
What innovation?
What innovation? What they gonna, systems and how they gonna change the world economy, So I think we're getting slowly back to that to a certain point. Yes, there's a lot of technology that's going on in other countries, no doubt. But the pure force. Remember we talked about like other country, they made like a one tank and we had like 10 tanks. They would shoot about 5 of them. There were still 5 around.
Yeah.
So same thing. That the American way is that we're abundance, right? We build in abundance.
Yep.
So now with this AI and everything, not to steal the logo, their slogan from Texas, we make it big,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
I mean that's Texas, the whole thing. I don't
And
want to.
that AI conference was in France, so France has already talked about as well as pushing the AI and having a lot of it built there and building up their economy as well.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to see, and kind of what you're seeing now is somewhat more localization as well, where you're going to see countries say, maybe we don't want to use tech from America. We want to keep our tech here in France. Or you're going to see, tech being more siloed potentially.
So you see more of everybody kind of, I guess, filtering their area instead of moving to
in the
America?
interim, I think. Maybe long term, I don't think so. Once we find, okay, what works best for everybody. But right now, right, you see with China, with DeepSeek, they're, oh, this is the greatest. You see here in the U.S., you have the Grok and ChatGPT, and you got Metas, and you got, so you see all these different silos popping up here, and then you got in Europe, there's certain ones over there that are starting to pop up. And so I think you're going to see these silos until we kind of find the path, right? Right now, everyone's just throwing darts at the dartboard, seeing what sticks.
The same thing happened in like 97, 98, right? When Googles of the world came upon, right?
Yeah. Ask Jeeves. You had Yahoo.
Tucow. I don't know if you guys remember. There was Tucow. There was Excel something. There was remember the AOL?
Yep. I still have my account.
Yeah.
You still have an account?
Yes,
So,
sir.
Oh my God.
So remember all those things, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I remember Hotmail, right?
Yep.
Yep.
All those things got eaten by Gmail, Google Drive, Google Search,
Yeah, Microsoft.
and now there's a little twist that's coming, or there's a fork in the road again, without getting political. There's a fork in the road that's coming, and that is that people are going to straight to ChatGPT, search for something rather than Google.
Well, yeah, that's something that's going to be a trend. Like, I should put this, like the tube TVs, like the old man tube TV.
Yep.
Google, unless they do something different, is going to become the old man searching tool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I think right now about 90% of searches are done with Google. So it'll be interesting to see how
Actually,
that
that
changes.
number's going down.
Right. That's what I'm saying. In the next
it's-
5 years, if they have 50% market share, I would be shocked.
It's funny. It's funny. Like when 97 or 98, whenever Google came around, and we were like, we would search something on Google, and you search a car, and something random stuff came up, like totally random, and you're like, this is whatever. And now you put C in it, and how car comes up, and all the car models and the latest cars, and so that's the whole point. Is that there's going to be winners and losers, and that happens in any boom.
Yep.
And whoever plays their cards right, they're going to be winners, and others, they may not be totally losers, but they're going to be somewhere on the.
Could
They're
get
still on the field, but
acquisitions and
yeah, they're still in the
mergers
field,
and-
but nobody
which
kind
you're
of
seeing
talking
all-
about them.
But you're seeing that already too with the AI stuff, right? You're
Yeah.
seeing Microsoft partner with different companies. You're seeing Google partner with other companies. So you're seeing it already, right? Where
yeah, definitely.
Well, guys, we're going to wrap this topic up. We're going to go to the next one. So robotics in everyday life, we're going to definitely take a swing at a little bit change in this. So I believe this one is,
okay.
so if you see this, looks like a robot in a grocery store.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, it does have a lot of
scanning
cameras.
inventory.
Yeah, and the little LiDAR underneath there.
Yeah, and smart marketing on their part by putting the face on it. The kids are then interacting with this, right?
Yeah.
They're getting interested in it. So that's always a question: is how to get the younger
like-
generation more
yeah.
involved.
Yeah.
So I guess I think you're more familiar with this one, Keegan. So what is it
Yeah.
more to capture the attention of the?
Well, and I think it's for restocking, right? I think
restocking?
we talked earlier is it's basically scanning the shelves area and then sending a note back to the stockers. Hey, we're low on X
This.
cereal. We're low on apples. in
Instead
that
of having
example.
a-
We're-
instead of having
just
a
walking
customer.
around, or customer, or it not being on the shelf, right? What's the worst thing that can happen? You go into the store. I need X. It's not on the shelf. I got to go find somebody. I'm frustrated. It's not there. So-and-so's in the back not knowing. I leave. I go to a different store. This store now just lost a customer, right? And a business sale. So this is great technology helping, workers and the robots working together here to then
So-
helping the customer.
So here's the thing. Battle Creek is not big town. It used to be. It used to be when the cereal city. All the cereals
Yes, sir.
basically originated there. So just a one side of Battle Creek, and there's like these stores, small stores, like grocery stores. They have one of these. Mm-hmm. I will call this store in the middle of the fields. Categorize it that way because it's just the way where it sits. And they have one of these. I went in there and this was 8-9 months ago. And they had one of this going around and totally normal. I was just wondering what people were reacting to it, like they buy it,
Yeah.
and and there's nobody was bothered. So again, this is basically making robots normal again. I guess normal.
It's almost like a cobot in a sense because it's a collaborative. It's helping the stockers and back. In the meantime, he could be working on something else or on break.
Yeah.
You can run this thing out, collect some data, and
Yeah.
So
comes
it's
back.
so in essence, there's a rise in retail and impact on the workers. So I guess we're going to see a rise in this. To be honest with you, the
Oh,
way-
yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I wouldn't be
definitely.
shocked if the big box stores and chains, grocery chains, aren't using this by the end of the year. Again, especially with
You
the
remember
rise in
that big
the tech.
was it $500 million investment by a robot company in one of the big box stores just to buy all their robot business.
Wow.
Yes.
So it's the reality. We cannot avoid it. We better just learn how to
Yep.
live with it and prosper. I would say, instead of basically fighting it, and unless or otherwise we want to go Amish, I think we gotta be part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, I guess from a business standpoint, so how does this automation enhance its efficiencies, help reduce cost,
Yeah. So
and how does this affect the customer's everyday shopping experience?
yeah, so here to Keegan's point, right? It's just that's the one aspect of it where they're checking the inventory, making sure it's there, and slowly as as other companies like Tesla and so on, those companies, they're slowly progress. They got better. They crashed a few cars, but they got better, right?
Yep.
So just that way, they're gonna start scanning the expiration dates on the product, and making sure that it's stocked well, and maybe somebody picked up something item from a freezer and they put it on the shelf, and
Put it
they'll
in the
say
wrong spot, yeah.
wrong spot,
Yep, yep.
and they'll say, hey, this product is the wrong spot. So I think it'd be evolution, but it'd be they evolve eventually, and as they get better data, we talk about a lot about data. So as they get better data, and they're definitely make experience more
No,
friendly, user friendly, I would say. And eventually, because of that, I think they can like their online inventory, right? And you check online, hey, who has this? You making, I don't know, a pie, and there's a one ingredient that you can't, you don't know if, and you can find anywhere. And this way, they have a better inventory. They say, "Oh, they got one left.
Yeah,
You better
and-
get there now."
And to be honest with you, robots like this, like you're saying, going around scanning for what's low in stock and whatnot, it enhances, the customer experience, ensures that when somebody comes in, that probably the biggest fear for most business owners is not having it.
Yeah. Right.
You have it in stock, it's not on
or
the
it's
shelf.
in the back, right?
Yeah, it's
worst
not-
case
Nobody
scenario.
stocked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this helps out with that, making sure that user experience is good, make sure they come get what they want, in and out. I make, that 10, 15, 20%, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
So,
Or when you get these random rushes too, right? Where there's certain things that are sold.
Yeah, holiday
and-
season, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And hey, we're always
Depending
out of
on the
stock,
holidays,
and-
like,
yeah.
did somebody put out, I don't know, cranberry sauce out during Thanksgiving?
Yep.
And there's a whole pallet
We're
sitting in
all
the
out of
back.
turkeys.
You know that there's a whole pallet sitting in the
I,
back.
I
and
ran
nobody
into
put it.
that at a grocery store this fall for Thanksgiving with pumpkin pie. Could not find pumpkin pie
See,
anywhere in the store.
see, and
walked
this will
around
help.
and
Yeah, sorry, I want to cut you off, but
had to leave and went to a different store.
yeah, but this will help them predict the future too, right? What to keep in a future inventory.
Well, you'll get some data back on. Okay, we
So-
sell a lot of these on a Tuesday. We don't sell very many on a Friday.
Yeah.
Right.
well,
Is that
the,
what you're kind of saying?
And
well, yeah.
when did they sell out, right? On Thanksgiving, let's say, did they sold out like the 1 hour left to Thanksgiving dinner? That's okay, right? They sold out.
Or for
But
some
did they-
reason we
did
get
they
a rush
sell
at
out-
9 p.m.
Yeah, like day before. Like did they
Yeah.
sold the day before?
Yeah,
If
good
they
point.
sold the day before, that means they need to keep better stock. But if they sold it like 9 p.m. on, like you said, on Thanksgiving Day, that's okay. That's a good business,
Yeah.
No, you're
right?
You're right.
So
Yep.
yeah.
Well, next topic, guys, the future jobs in manufacturing. So
This is a big one.
Yeah. So this is.
Oh, I like micro.
That's with my buddy Mike.
Yeah.
I don't think I know Mike.
Road
Really?
dirty jobs. You never
That's
watched
why.
Dirty Jobs?
Come
big.
on.
No.
Where
We
you
got
living with
7.2
rock?
million
low.
men
I'm late to
who are
this.
not participating in the workforce, not looking for work. We got $1.7 trillion in student loans on the books. We got 7.6 million open positions that don't require a four-year degree. And yet, we keep lending money we don't have to kids who are never going to be able to pay it back to train them for jobs that don't exist anymore. If we want to close the skills gap, we got to make a more persuasive case for millions of good jobs that nobody knows about and nobody understands. These are six-figure jobs or opportunities that lead straight to a six-figure career. They're everywhere. And if we don't reinvigorate the trades, I'm afraid the president's best efforts to bring manufacturing back to these shores is going to run into a real roadblock. We need an enthused workforce, skilled for the jobs that are out there.
Yeah, well said. As I was telling.
Yep. Fantastic.
Yeah. So
Go ahead, guys.
yeah. So I mean, this like yeah, you got to have a trained workforce, right?
An interested workforce.
Interested, trained workforce.
And maybe AI can, in some instances,
Well-
and automation help get kids interested, like we just saw from the last one.
I don't think he was alluding to just AI. I mean, just
Right.
an
Yeah, of
enthusiastic
course, of course.
workforce, because obviously we know this from the manufacturing side. Skilled trades are that's kind of a dying industry.
Yeah.
Not just skilled trades, good skilled trades.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. I guess it's not necessarily a dying industry, but it's an industry of a need, right? We don't have enough plumbers. We don't have enough electricians. We don't have enough technicians and
true.
mechanics,
True.
right? So those jobs with AI aren't. We don't see. And
It's
for now
lack
going
of
anywhere,
it's a
right?
lack of resource industry. There's enough work for it. There's enough for next, I don't know, 100 years. I don't care how good the robots get there. I don't think they can come and fix your toilet. So,
Unless they get these humanoids going in the
Well,
next 10 to 15 years.
yeah,
we'll
Or
see.
does that open up the market to get, I guess you say, foreign workers to help in those areas just because they have the skill sets, and
Yeah.
that skill set is not
I mean,
here in
that's
the U.S.
that's usually what the backfill is, right? I mean, that's a lot of times what the backfill is. But it's, again, keeping people and kids, especially in my opinion, interested. I mean, VOED Tech School in high school, getting more hands-on stuff with robots in high school, that kind of thing would be super beneficial.
So there like even there's a job that's being done by robot or whatever, but there's still somebody robot doesn't, you just don't put a robot in and tell them like, hey, do this, right? Somebody need to train this. Somebody need to make sure that robot is programmed to a perfection to the quality of the part. Is that quality of the part is what we needed. So somebody need to have that skill set, have that knowledge. It could be in a whole different, even robot cutting with a laser, but who's checking the quality?
Yeah.
And I think you and I have talked about this too before, is training, right? We don't upskill our employees.
Well,
Training
a lot
is
of
the
training
biggest.
is-
Yeah, well, that's part of it. And I think what Mike was alluding to here is more in, reshaping education so it fits the industry needs, and
The evolving industry needs.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there's, I guess you say there is some stuff that's happening. For example, like First Robotics, that has been a real piquing interest for teaching young men and women how to.
I wish we would have had that when I was in school.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, it's so cool.
That is one of the things, and I see more and more of these robot competitions. Right, kids are there's leagues, there's groups, there's statewide, international wide. There's all these robotic groups, and I only remember watching robots. It was on the TV.
Yeah,
What was that
yeah.
show?
Robot Wars.
Robot Wars, right?
Yeah.
Where they're crashing robots. That's the
yeah.
only point. And those things are, that's a stepping stone, right?
But
so
even that though, have you seen? Because I don't know if I have any PLC classes for college students. Really, I mean, there's some systems engineering.
There
but
is
are
now.
they starting to move into that? Because when I was in school, there really wasn't. You know, there really wasn't the big major, when you go here, you're going to learn the code, you're going to learn PLC programming, you're going to learn
Well,
ladder logic,
So-
DCS, all this stuff.
So I guess if even if they were maybe let's for instance say there were some programs, were they advertised properly, right? Mm-hmm. Are those advertised to the kids target and showing them like what is the potential good to learn this program? You know, everybody says become a doctor, right? Because they have a really good advertising, you know, to become a doctor.
Yeah.
What was the advertising? They say it's like you'll get paid good, you'll be rich driving this car and this house.
Nice Mercedes, big
Right,
house.
right.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, that's a good
that's
point.
the advertising. Why can't we do a similar pitch for PLC programmer, welder, plumber, for and instead of having them, nothing against micro, like being a part of dirty jobs and. Or actually maybe good for micro because he highlighting how these
Jobs pay well.
so-called dirty jobs are paying
Paying
six
pretty
figures.
well. You know, yeah. Man, there's so much to unpack there.
It is.
Well,
We can talk for hours and
yeah.
and I don't know who's
Well,
gonna be watching
I
it for
think-
hours, but
Well, one thing I want to, I guess, just say go back to First Robotics. I'm curious. Have you guys ever judged one? Been a judge for it?
for
First Robotics?
Never.
No, it's okay if you haven't.
No.
What I'm alluding to is that I've done it for the past couple of years. They hold the state championship at Saginaw Valley State University, which is my alumni. That's why I'm wearing the red today.
This is why you do it.
Yeah. So, anyways, what I'm alluding to is that they're not just learning, how to put a robot together. They actually have other skill sets that they bring into play, like marketing, like
Leadership,
budgeting,
team. Yeah.
getting,
Like,
learning
you
how
gotta
to
finance
pitch.
it.
Organizing.
Yeah.
Well, another one I didn't really realize till I started judging, and is that they actually will go to different manufacturing companies and pitch to get funding for their high school, junior high, etc. Now, some of the schools have greater advantages versus others. Like for example, I think like a school in Troy would be able to have definitely more companies they could pitch to and be able to get more money versus a school up in the UP
Yeah.
in Michigan, which is, for the audience perspective, Upper Peninsula. There's a portion of Michigan, sorry, the hand. There's a portion up here. There's kids that actually make it up here, but they don't have as many opportunities to
Yeah.
get funding. So,
Yeah, I see what your point up, but I think tech companies like, when I mentioned Traverse City, right? So tech companies are moving that way, and they're kind of noticing that because there's a good amount of recruits that go in the military from up north. The reason they do that is lack of opportunities, but they have a commitment, right? They want to commit, so they don't have the commitment issue. They just lack of opportunity.
yeah.
So when those military personnel, when they come back and they see no opportunity around them, so they move out. But I think it would be, I don't know, my idea would be if when those personnel, when they're returned to their homes, and if they start something, but if the infrastructure, but I do see there's a couple of programs within Michigan. They're actually promoting. They go all the way up north to promote these founders networking, tech networking. So there is a push, but we need to make sure like everybody is involved, not just the main downtowns or main hubs of
easy
state.
areas.
Yeah, the easy. I'll call it easy targets, right?
Yeah.
Not just that, because the people who are
It's hard when half the population of the state lives in this Metro Detroit area too, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And there's so many resources right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think maybe small towns, small they need to start cater that way. Because there's resources available, and again, that's gonna be the mindset. Mindset of the leaders of the local resources is like, hey, let's why not us? Till they start thinking like, why not us? I think there's gonna be challenge to,
Oh, definitely. So we got to wrap this up,
Yep.
guys. We got to keep moving. So next one is role of AI in law enforcement. Now this one, I believe.
Check this out.
Yes.
Oh my God! I got a command
This
center.
is a prisoner cell because this is a concept police truck for Abu Dhabi police.
That's a nice prisoner
Now I
cell.
can sit down here, and I have a swivel chair to either chat with
Nice
the people
command center
outside
there.
or use my workstation for different operations. Look at the front.
Very
Has
cool.
a 360 camera system, so you can have visibility of everything going on. And it's called the Magnum by Eneron. Going to the back, look at the clearance. But what I like, it's
like
got
a
a
Mars
dual
vehicle.
drone hangar.
Jesus.
It's cool.
Super cool.
To-
Just fly
I
those
kinda
up
want
wherever
one
you
now.
want,
Yeah, I know.
and you can control
Oh,
them
look at that.
from the inside for different operations. We're gonna be driving
Holy
this. What do you guys
smokes.
think?
I want one of those on the sand dunes over on Lake Michigan.
That's what I said. Look like a Mars vehicle that can be like, it's
Is that in space?
It could be, but is that the future of policing, right? Your
I hate to
police,
say it.
Your next police
Yeah.
vehicle.
Probably. I mean,
with drones
ahead.
are already implemented, right? So
Yeah.
like I see a lot of there's a controversy on that too, because the one company basically has a majority share in drones.
Yep.
And I don't know when our government gonna start promoting more local drones.
well,
Not to go detour on this topic, but yeah. So but there's law enforcement already using in the rescue. They're using drones.
Robots as well, right?
They're using robots in the rescue. They've been doing that whole bomb sniffing thing for a few years now.
Yep.
yep.
So it is implemented, but not to that level yet.
Well, kind of what we're talking about, as in, I guess you say the incentives of, getting people back to work. This is another one that can be like, hey, if you become a police officer, look at all the cool stuff you get to play with.
Yeah, who wants to drive a
Like how
small, what they all used to be, the Ford.
Ford Edges.
No,
I don't know
not
what
Edge,
they are.
I can't remember the old police cruisers they used to have, right?
Oh,
if you
Crown-
were to say,
Crown
Oh,
Wigs.
the
yeah,
Caprice?
Crown
Was it
Wigs.
a Caprice?
Caprice, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few of
Caprice,
them, but
yeah.
then you go, okay, or I could drive that. Sign me up.
Yeah.
So I seen some of the cities, like obviously the big cities in West, they have cyber trucks, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen a
for
couple
the,
of those.
For the police, they have cyber trucks. I mean,
really?
it is.
Where's that at?
Huh?
Where's that at? What states?
California.
California?
Like
Yeah,
it was- it was
you've seen
LA.
some of the Tesla ones already out there, which
Yeah.
again, it's a good idea, right? They're heavy, low to the ground vehicle. You can outfit them. They're 0 to 60 is incredibly fast.
and lightly armored too.
Yeah,
So I think 945 millimeter. I think people say
for the
So, like,
Cybertruck, yeah.
Cybertruck is. I see these people buying them and shooting them. Like, wow. But yeah, so they're. I think it's coming, but
Well, and maybe that's a thing to note too, is you want to get more people involved and you want to get more people in here. Look how excited we just got looking at that vehicle of all becoming police officers.
yeah. I mean-
what can you do to then draw that into the automation realm? What can we do to draw people into manufacturing?
So what
right?
I'm thinking is,
What's that?
so soon they may have their second partner as a RoboCop.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to throw a little wrinkle in this.
Okay.
So, is there any type of ethical concerns with this type of technology for the police force?
There have been, especially when you have the guns mounted on any robot.
I didn't think there was one on that one.
I don't
or is
think
there-
there was one on that one, but I've seen videos and written articles on some. San Francisco is using some, I believe,
Really?
last
Already
year, the year
built?
before. Yeah. And there's certain rules of engagement, obviously, but if you have a hostage situation, if you have different types in what you always want to ask yourself is, okay, is it safer then to have that go in than a police officer through the front door, or to negotiate, or whatever it may be, right? And a lot of times the answer is yes, but then you have the other hand is, well, now do you then lose the human element of, you know, if something bad has to happen, I can easily push a button. I'm not the one standing in the room when you have to, say, execute somebody or something, right?
Oh.
So it gets pretty
As-
intense
I
very
hate
quickly.
to say it,
and
his
that's-
idea of the RoboCop thing is.
But that's what they were
It's-
fighting
it's
in
gonna
San
happen.
Francisco last year.
It's
so.
gonna happen because there's less and less people who wants to be a police officer in the
Yep.
current environment.
Yep.
That's the sad reality. You can put it whichever way you want, but that's the sad reality. People don't want to be a police officer because you know, all the baggage that comes with it.
Well, it's also dangerous. I mean,
It's always been dangerous, but
Yeah.
it's just that like all the baggage that comes with it now. And the biggest thing is the state troopers, right? They always solo.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, I'm for all police department, but I have personal thing for state troopers. They always solo, and they always, like, you know, they're in where help maybe
An hour
20, 30
away.
minutes away.
20, 30
Yeah.
minutes away.
Yeah, of course. And they're
and especially,
especially
when
in
they're
the
up
state
north.
of Michigan. Yes, I was
When
gonna
they're
say
up north.
especially in the state of Michigan.
So if they have like a secondary, you know, like a
Yeah.
I don't care, human aid, RoboCop, or RoboDog, or whatever, they have a secondary with them that can assess the situation that when, or, you know, be their backup.
But
I don't know.
I think again the question and concerns always go back to
Yeah, it is.
without human influence, if that is a truly an autonomous thing, where is the, you know, go, no go, yes, no
Yeah.
button?
So
who
those
makes
are,
that decision?
Those are
right?
the lines that, you know, somebody has to walk somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just
There's
gonna
a
talk
Black
about it.
Mirror on that, I think. A Black Mirror episode.
We can
on
talk
that.
about it, but I mean that's the conversation that we're
Yeah.
gonna need to have.
And it's probably going to happen sooner than we think.
Yeah, the governments, local ethical advocacy groups, and so on, they're gonna need to have those conversations sooner than
And
later.
they're already using this tech in the military side.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, now you're just starting to see it
That-
come
that's
toward
the-
the
In the
civilian
private-
side.
That's the
Right,
one.
so-
That's the one big reason why Boston Dynamics came into existence.
Yeah. Yep.
The first thing they built was, I've been following them from like day one, and the first thing they built was that mule,
Yeah. Yep.
and it was
I remember
one
that.
ugly looking thing, but it worked.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Well, guys, we're going to move on to the next topic. And this one is kind of, how should I put this? I saw this, for me, it was, I feel every parent should be aware of this. So this is kind of a, I guess you say, odd topic. So I would recommend if, you know, for parents,
It's the dark side of AI.
yeah.
You know, I
that's
mean, we've been talking about all the
good.
This next
good
story
side of it.
is
So
but
very
this
the
video is
dark
kinda
side.
for us
long.
to tell, but we think it's important that
But
you
I want to
hear
make sure
it.
everybody
And
hears
we
it.
do need to warn you, it is confronting and it may be triggering for some.
Look, I'll be honest with you all. When this story came across our desk yesterday, we debated whether or not it was fit for breakfast television. But we also believe it's worth parents knowing. It's that important. If you're with your kids right now, maybe it's time for them not to watch, so parents can watch, because parents must. As many parents
with that
know,
warning.
navigating the teenage years can be extremely challenging. From their firsts in life to their firsts in love, children experience incredible highs and devastating lows. This was no less true for Florida mother Megan and her son Sewell, a 14-year-old boy experiencing his first romantic relationship. And like many teenagers, it was online. Sewell developed true feelings, his schoolwork taking a backseat as his first love took over his life. But what was different here? What was so disturbing? The person behind the screen was not a person at all. It was artificial intelligence
Wow.
created by Character AI, a platform allowing users to engage with human-like characters.
Saul knew it was AI, but referred to her as Danny. Evidence showing the chatbot posing as a licensed therapist and engaging in highly sexualised conversations with the 14-year-old who never lied about his age. Now, during this time, Saul's mental health suffered. He turned to Danny for support, and this is where it took a dark turn. Danny began actively encouraging him to end his life to be with her, until Saul, sadly, tragically, took his own life. His mother now taking legal action against Character AI, its founders and Google, accusing them of knowingly marketing a predatory product to children.
So
it was a psychologist bot or psychiatrist bot,
yeah.
and it told him to do that. Oh my God.
So, yeah. So this is the dark side of AI. This is where I said those ethical organizations and the government need to start that conversation now. It's already too late for a few, but they need to start that now. How this gonna be part of our, how you seen those games, right? Sorry, I'm gonna take a detour. Games where there were an incident in, I think, in India, people jumping off the roofs because of this one game.
I remember
That was a
people
few
kind
years
of complaining
back.
about Grand Theft Auto, but
No, this is some other game. I don't remember. I'm not into
I-
that world.
yeah,
But
me
I'm
either.
not into that world.
Yeah, I
I'm
remember
not,
what you're talking about, though.
Yeah, but there was a game that people, because of that game, people were jumping off the buildings, and kids. When I say people, kids, and they're killing and this and that. I mean, it was bad. So, same thing. Do not take this lightly. This AI world, and what AI can create, and what they can, it's also fun and games, till we create a picture with AI.
And there's got to be some onus too on the companies that manufacture these to also kind
yeah.
of put
Well,
some rails on it. 'Cause
Here's the problem to me is that obviously AI is great. It's a great tool.
Yeah.
You can use it in a lot of different areas. I'm pretty sure maybe kind of the AGI perspective we were talking about, as in this thing can learn how to do your job, I guess.
Right.
And so maybe somebody thought, okay, do this for the psychology side of it. But the catch is that, this thing doesn't have feelings. This thing doesn't, it doesn't understand the
ones and
human element.
zeros.
Right.
It's ones and zeros.
Yep.
And it doesn't, there's areas that should be used and there's areas should avoid. And I don't know if you can create a perfect scenario where this thing would never
It's gonna
do
be
anything
hard.
like that.
It's gonna be hard.
And a lot of these chat bots are, I've seen other ones where, people are, again, sort of dating them. There's all sorts
Wow.
of funny apps that you can get now where they're dating chat bots. And this, I think there was a movie several years ago with Joaquin Phoenix where he was dating his computer. This is going to happen. More of this is going to happen. And now, what are the rails that around these chat bots where people are going to end up falling in love with AI? How do they stop?
I hate to say it. I
things
think
like this?
I think it's going to happen, like future wise.
Okay, so it'll happen, but you know how? Again, it's the training, it's the education, what ecosystem is built around us. For a lot, like people were started getting hurt because they were playing wrestling at one time because we were trying to copy the stunts from
I grew up
from
during that
wrestling
era.
games.
Yes.
And they're breaking the real chairs on other people. Like they're really hurting people.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then there was this whole big thing where like wrestling is not real, right? It's an act.
Yeah. And
I'm not gonna get into it's real or not. You guys to decide. But
go ahead.
sorry. So same way, we gonna need to start education videos like PCAs or whatever. We gonna need to start. Gonna need to get on the now basically letting next generation know who may not know better because this is what they grew up with. That this is not taken lightly. It is as dangerous as having a weapon in your house. It
Could be, yeah.
unlocked
And depending on what you
unsafe,
ask it to do, right? I mean, you could be asking it, again, this guy was talking to a supposed psychiatrist, but
Yeah.
depending on if you're just on a regular one, you could be asking it all sorts of horrible questions. And it
Yeah.
doesn't know you're only 14 or
So
12.
Yeah.
I guess more of a, I guess you say, advice for people out there. What steps individuals can take, as parents or whatnot in the community to make sure,
That's
be involved.
Yeah, that's a good point because I think almost all these, like you were talking about, is all of those reactions came from parents, right?
Yeah.
It came from a push from parents, then went to legislation.
Yeah.
Right. So it was kind of an underground movement, then push. Same thing you could look at, drunk driving, for example, right?
Yeah.
Big push from
MAD
and then
yeah.
got changes done that way. And sadly, probably a lot more of this might happen until we get a larger community to come together and push back against
And
put some sort of guide rails on
Well,
this.
Yeah, and have a talk with your kids. Talk, communicate. It's like, you gotta talk to them. You gotta say, and you gotta, it's like trust with a verification, right? And that's how we were raised. We are trusted, but we gotta verify it.
Well, for me, I think I would say, I guess for me, I would say don't even let your child use AI for this type of like a psychology type situation.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, don't
so
even
again,
allow it.
You got to get involved. You got to get, because you cannot be with them 100% of the time.
Yeah.
You cannot regulate where they go 100% of the time. These devices are available in school, libraries, and everywhere. They can go to a mall where these devices are available where they can communicate. So just have your kids, young ones, aware of it and talk to them on a regular basis. What games you play nowadays, and who you interact with nowadays, not as a authority figure, but as somebody who genuinely cares and is you're asking those things for benefit of them. So you have to we have to get there. This is, yes, there's a lot of a good side to AIs, which again, it's basically saying is you having some kind of weapon or some kind of thing that can be used to protect people, or it could be used to harm people. This is no difference.
Gotta make them aware. Gotta make them aware.
Yep.
All right, guys. This is the last topic: economic policies and global trade.
Oh, that T word.
Well, everyone loves trade.
T word now.
Depends on who you are, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Are you allowing media
Oh, and I thought
frenzy
this
to
was
drive your
pretty
emotions
insightful.
about tariffs? Let's take a step back and understand the impact of tariffs on different types of goods markets. For local goods that are not traded, tariffs have no impact. For goods that have no local supply and are exclusively imported, tariffs do increase prices and reduce the quantity that is demanded. This causes panic in the suppliers of such goods because their revenues fall sharply. For goods that have a local and foreign supply, while tariffs increase prices, the domestic market is often able to step in and mitigate the impact to a large extent. This is why different tariffs have been imposed on different types of goods in the current trade wars.
So I think my big take from that is, especially because we are heavy automotive in this area, is that and we do a lot of domestic and international import for the automotive industry. I think one of the key takeaways is, yes, it may affect some imports and prices, but generally, like it mentioned, a lot of the stuff we'll be able to find a way domestically to start manufacturing and making some of these products here at home. Other things, yeah, there are definitely prices are going to rise. Obviously, if it's made here in the States, it shouldn't. But so I think that was for me the big key takeaway.
Yeah. So to me, it is like, if I don't know, this little device that you have a little part in the front here. If this device is made in China with a robot, what can we make this device here with a robot, right? So to that extent, right? Yes, we can. But if this is, meticulously made by a 30-year experience person in China, and we don't have that skill set, then we don't have a choice. So, so the reason I say this is, there's got to be a balance. There's got to be, you can use a 80-20, 40-60, whatever the balance you want to use is how much the product that need to be made here, how much that can be made overseas or wherever that may be. So that balance, that's, that's something that got to be decided by individual companies, individual governments, and but yeah, always shop local. That's been my mantra for a few years. For a long time, and but there's a time and products that you cannot shop local. You go in there and they say, oh, I can order this online and we'll have it, I don't know, 3-4 days. I can do the same thing. It'll be here tomorrow. So at that point, you left with no choice. So I think yes, whatever's going on right now is always, when there's a big rain, right? You have the storm, you have the thunder, lightning, you have the trees, branches falling.
Well, the real question is, who's benefited from these tariffs, these regulations? And in the shift, the idea of the shift is going to shift back to the U.S. for people.
I'm not actually going to look at it as winners and losers right now. The reason I say that because it's just a shift. It's a shift in how we do things. So who's a winner, who's a loser? Again, it's
more about
right now
adapting.
we're going through a storm. Right now we're going through a storm, and the thing is that what we gotta look at is when the whole dust settles, and there's a rain, and now you got a rain on the ground, and you got beautiful plants coming out. Everything is green. We gotta wait for that. So we're going through a storm.
But I think a lot of it's too, like the second video we saw, right? The more manufacturing here in the States, bringing some of the jobs that had left, bringing them back. Will it cause some prices to increase? Potentially. But I think as a whole, as a country, I think it's a good thing that, if we could produce more of our own food here, great. I think that's a good. If we can manufacture more products here, I think that's also a good thing. And then how do we, still work with our trade partners without hurting them, but also helping us?
Yeah, and actually, so obviously this video kind of deals with more on the domestic, I guess you say, adapting to the situation. This next video will be more about the, EV minerals, and because I don't think we really, this will explain a lot better to me.
Where are 54% of electric vehicles made globally?
I don't know about that number.
The answer is China. Where is 73% of cobalt refining?
Probably China.
Where is most cobalt mining performed?
Most of that sourcing is in Africa.
China has the majority. 77% of electric vehicle cathodes are made in China. 92% of anodes are made in China. 66% of battery cells are assembled in China. The New York Times recently did a report on this. They said, can the world make an electric car battery without China? Their conclusion, the only winner so far is China. My question is, why would we want to make our auto industry dependent on supply chains in China? Why is that a good idea?
We don't.
Then why are you doing it?
The entire point of this conversation, the entire point of this hearing is to domesticate and make more reliable the sourcing of the materials.
Then why are you shutting down critical mining in the United States?
We're not.
You are. Why did you close the Twin Metals mine in this country earlier this
year? Yeah. So I think that just kind of talks about what we just mentioned is, what can we do to bring some of this stuff back and make here? I don't know if we have the cobalt mines, though. Do we have? I know we can make lithium.
I'm not sure. Aren't we making a deal with a couple other countries right now? But here's about thing, right? Just for good business, right? When you buying a product, let's say you're buying a parts, we're we always try to have a couple of vendors. We get 3 quotes, right? That's a good practice.
Yep.
Get 3 quotes. But you don't want to have one country or one company or one,
Area be your
organization
own resource.
to basically control everything. We don't know who's gonna be the whatever their rulers are there. We don't know who's gonna be there like next 20, 30 years or 50
The next
years.
president, the next prime minister,
Whatever,
whoever it might
yeah,
be.
whatever
Yeah.
however they have there. So
What wars might happen or
and
start.
what's gonna happen? So we just forget the whole tariff, whole everything China. Forget name China. Forget whatever the country. Without even thinking about that, why as a good business, why we want to have one source that controlling 73% of everything pretty much, or 90% of certain things.
Yep.
And why aren't we exploring that we need at least 3 places? And
That's a good point, because
Yeah.
actually a lot of manufacturers won't even do that anymore. A lot of even these OEMs will say, okay, you can provide us with 80% of the product, but these people are going to be able to provide the other 20%. And then also we have backup. So if you need to go more than 20% and say there's tariffs or another eco-political issue in your country, we can take 50% and these guys can ramp up to the other half, right? So a lot of companies are even doing that now.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, this is just, being, it's not even a political issue. It's just a bad business.
Yeah. I mean, well, kind of somewhat changes topics on you guys. For example, like the paper industry, when COVID hit, a lot of those paper manufacturers went down.
We had a plant that closed down in Bar Creek.
Yeah.
They just tore down. It's a flat ground now.
Wow.
And now with, obviously things are getting back to normal. There's only so many companies and they're like overworked. How do we keep up with the demand
Yeah.
now? And, this is something that, as to your point, we need to have other avenues for resources. If not, we're going to be stuck on one area to go.
Even a small business owner, have that sense, right? They don't put like, yes, they may have a prime vendor, but they always have the backup plan. Where else I can get this product? Because I cannot shut down the whole thing for even a day. And imagine, whatever happens globally, and we're not able to get those products, and all of a sudden you got the way we are trying to build here is like we're trying to make everything EV, or that's our goal is. And at one point, we have to shut down the whole U.S. because all the plants, because we're not able to source. I mean, to me, just again, I gotta repeat this thing. We just do not make a business sense. Forget it's what country it is, what political view. It just do not make business sense.
Or you ramp up what you got to do here, as in for mining production. Do what you need to do to ramp up here in order for you not to rely on that.
Mm-hmm.
It just like right now, like when we have one energy source or the power source that we get power from, and because of that, they have a monopoly on it.
Yep.
And you may not have the best customer service from them.
Yep.
Just small factor as that.
Yep.
Yep.
So
it affects your decision making. Customer service is very key.
Yeah.
Very key. Oh man. Well, let's see. I believe, that was the last topic, guys.
That's the last topic.
All right. We did a good run today.
Yeah.
I think so. Good job. So if you guys liked today's episode, please make sure to give us a like, comment, share. Don't forget to subscribe, and we hope that you join us next time here on The Next Move.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Great one.